All right, good morning, everyone. Yeah, we're back to Storm Talk for a while this week. Hope you guys are doing well. Wave meteorologist Brian Good on this Monday. Hello, everyone. Hope you had a good weekend. Hopefully you got a chance to relax. It's not going to be a long blog today. It's going to be relatively short because this is a long duration type of event. We got several days here to track it. So we'll give you at least where we stand today, and we'll just keep fine tuning it as we evolve through the week. And I'll get into a little more of the longer term coming up tomorrow. Not so much today, but tomorrow we'll talk a little more about the longer term, right? All right, good morning. Hello to all the YouTubers out there at Facebook, even a few Twitches that are on here today. Hello, Carrie, you were first on YouTube. Congrats. Hello, Matt Robertson from Nelson County today watching. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Hello, Angela and Brandon. Wyatt, I saw you on here. Hope you're doing well. Weather Geek as well. Okay, so everyone's on board. Everyone's waking up slowly, but surely it's Monday, right? Totally understand. Let's get into where we're going to, how we're going to get into this. All right. The good news is in the short term, everything looks good. In fact, blue sky and comfortable temperatures on a daily basis. The Monday through Friday window, I'm not worried about. Everything looks great. If anything, we actually have a small cool down for the middle of the week. And I'm only talking like 2, maybe 3 degrees, nothing major, but you should notice a bit of a reset for the middle of the week. That's it. Otherwise, no weather drama for the weekdays. So you don't worry about anything for the kids, anything with your work schedule. If you're Monday through Friday, you're fine. Once we get into the weekend, that's where problems arrive. Of course, it's the weekend. But I think we kind of jinxed ourselves. We've been bragging about how nice weekends have been around here. And then all of a sudden now things are starting to change. So let's hope we don't get stuck in a rut, because typically, especially this time of the year and onward, once you get into a pattern of a weather system arriving on the same day, it tends to arrive on that same day for a while. So I hope it's not a sign that we end up with a lot of nasty weekends coming up. But hopefully that was a cue that you got at least some of your outdoor stuff done the past few weekends that have been beautiful outside. But it's not all gloom and doom, right? There will be some dry time. We'll get into that coming up in a second. Currently outside, we've got a quiet view, as you saw there from the SkyTrack camera, not even a cloud in sight. Now, there's a couple things to look at here on the wider scope. It's really twin low pressures, if you will, coastal lows, nor'easter. Pretty wild that it's mimicking a bit of Imelda and Umberto, how they were in the Western Atlantic. To see that kind of almost mimic again. These are not tropical, but still, it's got that same type of organization to them that they had, where they were both fighting for the same space, but making it just nasty for the East Coast. I don't know if you have friends or family that have been talking about this in Jersey and New York. Not the best of weekends for them, and even the Carolinas. A lot of heavy rain for the beaches and miserable beach erosion. Beach erosion's been big this year, even though we have not had any landfalling hurricanes in the lower 48. They've been so close so many times and so large and so intense. They've still taken the sand with them. And if you've lived on the coast before, you know that beach renourishment projects can take a long time to pump the sand back out from the Atlantic back into the shoreline to build up the beaches again so people have some place to hang out. That can take some time to do. I'm sure it'll be a busy winter with nothing but those tubes that are hanging out in the ocean trying to pump the sand in. So I remember that quite well living in Charleston because I moved there in 2005. And 2005, of course, was that record-breaking year of tropical storms. It took all of our beaches away quickly. So this is doing a similar setup. I mean, it's, again, not being landfall and hurricanes. It's still in a lot. And then you see this front like, ooh, okay, is this why we got storm talk today? No, this is not, because the flow is stuck. These two have nowhere to go on the eastern seaboard. The Atlantic is closed. We've been talking about how this was going to be the case at this point in October. So the Atlantic is closed. So this front looks like it's going toward Kentucky and Indiana, but it will soon stop, and the flow nearly due south to north will take over and begin to take it and move it due north back into the northern plains, into areas of the Dakotas. So it will not be able to get to us. So we will stay in, I guess you could say, Goldilocks land in between the two, so we have a chance to stay nice and dry. Brandon, what'd you say? The biggest question I have is, when's it going to snow? Maybe. At some point this winter, Brandon, it's going to snow. At some point. I feel good about it. That's about all I can say. What'd you say, Carrie? I remember when they dredged sand in Santa Cruz. Yeah, it can stink. It depends on which side of the country, too, and where they pull that sand from can make a big difference. But it's the essential way to do it, to do beach renourishment. Okay, so this is going to be our storyline for the next few days. Now, this front will tilt a little more because it's being pushed up on the southern end. It will tilt a little more horizontal, and it will eventually slide through. That will be our temperature reset, but that is not a promising direction for rain. So that's about the only change we'll have. Recently, though, we have not had 80-degree temperatures. Kind of nice, right? Last time we had 80, when was that? The 5th of October. And it was a long stretch of 80s, really. Obviously, we're done with the 90s. Those are done. But the 70s, it's been pretty close to normal. Normal high is about 70. Hold me to this. I think it's 72 or 73, I believe, is a normal high or average high for Louisville right now for the state. So pretty close to normal. So actual decent October so far. It's the second half of October we've been worried about, and that continues to have that look to it. All right, it's 59 degrees in Louisville now, 60 at Fort Knox. Another day where dry air is in place, so we're going to have rapid warming to get us into the 70s. Comfortable again tonight in the 50s. Tomorrow, yep, rinse and repeat, same old song and dance. But then we get toward Wednesday, and then you start to see the sign of the front right there, draped across the area. Now it's beginning to tilt, and will begin to sink down to the southwest. And again, that is not an angle that is promising for rain. So because of that, we're not worried about rain, but it will slide down to allow the temperatures to get shaved off a couple degrees for Thursday, maybe Friday, probably just Thursday though. I think it's gonna be like a one day little cool snap, if you will, that moves on by. All right, so then we get into the weekend. So let's dive into it. We've got already the Cape building here across series, the Front Range of the Rockies. Sorry about that, we need to move the map. The Front Range of the Rockies. So the stage is starting to be set. Let's advance this. Here we go to Friday afternoon. As I mentioned, Friday, you're good. No issues at all on Friday. Touchdown Friday night looks good. Unless this thing really speeds up, which is pretty unlikely, given the block we have this week. Then we get into Saturday. Now, this is the Euro, as is dry through Saturday daytime. And then thunderstorms, which so much could be strong to possibly severe, showing up just west of us during the daytime on Saturday. Now, the GFS, even the German model, Icon model, there's a few that are a little faster than that like the Saturday afternoon timing. Euro is probably the slowest I've seen on it being nocturnal, a Saturday night into Sunday passage of showers and thunderstorms. Well, you guys know, we've been around here long enough in the block to know that if that's the case, that usually, that bodes well for us most of the time. We do pretty good with that, right? Especially in a cold weather season. But in this scenario, if the timing is going to be in the middle of the afternoon on Saturday, the faster model ideas are right, then that's a different ballgame. Then we will have to deal with at least a squall line type setup of straight line winds more than anything. This does look to be a squall line, not supercells, by the way. I'm not seeing a supercell pattern with this. It's still early. It's only Monday, so I don't want to get, I don't even know the fuel yet technically will be with this because we can't gauge fuel this far out. So I'm only giving you moisture and wind energy here. That's the only two elements I can technically give you, and forcing because of the actual front. That's about it. But those alone would all fit the criteria that this is going to be a system that will be able to produce severe weather. So that's the reason why it's getting our attention a little more. It's just the timing we got to figure out. There's a big difference on 4 o'clock in the afternoon on Saturday facing severe weather and 2 a.m. Sunday where it's faded severe weather and nothing but rain and thunder, and it's generally just rain after that, light rain into Sunday. So a big difference there, and I'm sure it makes a big difference on your plans as well. So we're not quite to an alert day status for this, but we're close. We are close. And it's going to be, if it holds the way it's looking now, it's going to be hard to escape an alert day setup for this weekend. I would like to see this agree a little bit more on timing. Most of them do have the faster Saturday timing, but the Euro does fairly well with the upper energy coming in from the north like that compared to the GFS. Can be a little too fast with it. So they have their own little biases, right? So I would like to see if the Euro is going to continue with that idea of a nocturnal timing or will it speed up. And I think we need another 24 hours, maybe 36 or so to go through that. So be patient with this, but treat it as a pre-alert day type discussion where we're likely heading that direction, but let's get through it first. Let's get through it first and make sure we check all the things off the list, because I don't want to have you guys get in an uproar, be upset, and cancel your plans when it doesn't even get here until after sunset Saturday. So we want to make sure we get this right. But at the same time, the whole point of the blog is that you are aware. To stay weather aware. This is going to be our topic every day this week. It moves on by rain, cooler weather. It's a weird glitch. Okay. Rain and weird showers on Sunday. Now, the upper low for now, I think, will pass by. There's a second system right on its heels. That's going to be the issue here, is if the blocking is a little still too strong. I don't know yet how strong the blocking. It's going to be easing during this time. But if the blocking is too strong, this low is going to have nowhere to go. It'll move on by, and it may do a loop-de-loop and sink back down over us again Sunday into Monday. And this would be a cold rain. I'm talking like 50s for highs. Even going to get it close to grapple levels in some cases. So that would be interesting. And it would stall the second system by a few days before it moves in with another round of rain and possibly some strong thunderstorms. Not going to roll that out. The jet energy is nearly similar in structure, so it's worth watching. But for now, we'll go with a wave of thunderstorms that move on by, and then showers, and then end. But we'll need to watch and see if the block affects the upper low and wants to throw it back down. Right now, there's not a single model that indicates that, but the pattern would indicate that with a block. So I just don't know yet how much it'll retrograde. We'll find out. We'll find out together. Isn't that fun? And then here's the second system that moves in. This one's a little different angle as far as how the moisture plume is, not so much straight up and down. So this one typically is more of a heavy rain signal, but sometimes you can get severe weather with that, but it does have a heavy rain look to it. That'd be about the 23rd of October. Yeah, we're going to be busy for the second half of October. All right, for the, I did just the CSU, Colorado State, Severe Weather Outlook, and SBC, which they've already outlooked, are part of the region. CSU takes it generally into about E-Town for low and severe risk, and the Storm Prediction Center does that rare move. This is quite rare for, day 6 to have a severe weather outlook out for the Mississippi Valley. And that's fair because that's the better zone of agreement right now of timing. But obviously, if it's a little slower, this is going to spread east. But even let's just take this at face value. if this was what the map looked like on Saturday from Storm Prediction Center, we would all be in a marginal risk. At the very least, we'd be in a marginal risk. So we're going to get outlooked in severe weather this weekend. I just don't know what category yet. But we'll see. CSU will have to take a little bit of time to lag onto their catch on because it can lag on catching on to these events. Its new update will not be in until about 4:30 this afternoon for this date. So we need some time. But we can already tell the wind energy. This is looking at the atmosphere sideways, right? We're down here. Here's where way up here, airplanes are flying, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so I can tell, you can just by looking at it, we're quiet this week. We're quiet, we're quiet, we're quiet. Aha, there we go. There's where the stronger wind, the jet dips down below where it can be pulled down to the ground level. And that's how you get your damage and wind threat. And that's about a 40 to 50 knot jet that begins to get pulled down. So that's enough for severe wind gust. And you sort of see signs of the second one after it, but a little disjointed there, but at least signs of it. So anyway, we've got the wind energy here, something we haven't seen a lot of in really since spring. We've only had it maybe a couple times, and every time it happens, you get a severe risk. So not by accident, that's the case. Okay, here we go with the 10-day as it stands right now. We'll go with 70s for the next few days. Again, the small reset on Saturday, minor overall. And then we get into the weekend. We'll go with about a 40% chance, really splitting the weekend on this. But the night, Saturday night, will likely feature the highest rain chance, probably about 60% of showers and storms rolling in there on Saturday. And then we'll end up with a cool setup before we have our next system roll in right on its heels. And then we'll get into a longer term talk tomorrow. I know you guys want to know all about the end. All about this, about the cold or cooler weather for the latter half of the month. We'll get into that a little more tomorrow, okay? Blue, that's a super early outlook. It is a super early outlook. You're right. Todd, is there any indications more linear than discrete at this point? Too early to know, Todd, but if I had to go with my gut feeling on it, I would say linear. Linear are more common in the cooler seasons. Supercells are more common in the more very warm tropical environments, or warmer summer environments. Jordan, last third of October still looks chillier. So far, yes. So far, yes. I still think November, though, is the month to watch. But the second half of October, still have some fun with it. All right. I think everyone's got the point. We'll give this some time to cook in the oven and see how it turns out. And yeah, the second severe weather season's about on cue, right? Maybe a little early. Typically, it's a little more like closer to late November, December, especially right here, especially La Nina. So this is not too unheard of. Maybe off by a couple of weeks, but nothing major. But other than that, enjoy this week. Enjoy making your plans to enjoy things that the weather allowing you to get things done outside. Any projects you need to take care of, this is the week to do it. Last call. Patio furniture getting put up, umbrellas taken down, painting of the deck, grass seeding that you still want to take care of before we get to a frost. All those kind of items. Now is your last call on that. Get that done because we will start to get busier and colder as we evolve for the second half of October. All right, guys, that's it for now. I'm going to jet. I will catch you guys coming up on the flips. Okay, on the flip side, it's Monday. Coming up at 11 a.m. on midday, guys. Take care.